This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. Hey everybody, it's Meso.
Hey James, hello.
It's Caravan of Garbage.
I hope so.
We watch a thing that's bad. Read a thing that's bad.
What is it today?
Have we ever listened to a thing that's bad?
I mean, each other.
Yeah, that's very true.
Got us. Why?
Aw. Anyway, this time we're going to read a thing that's bad.
Yeah.
Because Ant-Man and the Wasp was coming out in cinemas.
Correct.
So I was like, why not read a story about Ant-Man and his arch nemesis, who is, of course...
Some kind of bat?
No.
A frog.
No?
His neighbour with a rolled up newspaper.
You're getting closer. Look, I'll level with you. He doesn't really have much of a rogues gallery.
Well, there's Yellow Jacket.
But that's him.
Yeah.
That's in the comic books, that's him. And in Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's going to be the Ghost, which is an Iron Man villain.
Sure.
Mostly he's fighting, like, dogs and just whatever.
Hasn't he got an enemy that's a guy in a bear suit?
Boy, if only we were talking about that one.
Oh, no.
Well, what this time we're talking about, where we're going to be reading Tales to Astonish issue 38, which is from 1962.
Great.
It's a story entitled Ant-Man Betrayed by the Ants.
So his greatest enemy is ants.
No, it's a guy called Egghead. This guy.
So many misdirects. I
I
can't
know,
keep
right?
up already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great cover, by the way.
Well, see,
It's my first time seeing it.
here's this cover. What you might enjoy about this cover is it looks like Egghead is this enormous, threatening figure, but that's how they trick you. Yet another Ant-Man misdirect. He's a regular-sized man. Ant-Man, just very small. Yeah. So anyway, Ant-Man debuted.
I'm going to struggle on this one to keep up,
right?
Mason.
Yeah, it goes in so many directions. So Ant-Man debuted in Tales to Astonish 27.
Right.
It was called The Man in the Anthill, and it's Hank Pym, and he discovers shrinking technology, and he shrinks down, and he's running from ants.
Does he have his helmet and all that?
Stan Lee was like, no, he doesn't.
Okay.
And he was like, what if a man was really small and he got chased by ants or bees? That was the original plotline, I believe. Anyway, it was a single issue. It was like 7 pages or 7 or 8 pages or something like that.
Okay.
And then he disappeared for like 5-ish, a few issues.
I guess because they don't know until the numbers come in if anything works.
Well, apparently the minimum print run back in the day was like 200,000 copies.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? That is madness. If you were to sell 200,000 copies today,
You'd be the richest man in Hollywood.
richest man in Hollywood, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, so he was quite well received. So they brought him back in his Tales to Astonish 35, and he's like, I'm back, and now I'm Ant-Man. I've got the costume or whatever. And then he defeats the bad guys, and he's like, well, I'll probably never fight crime again. And then like 3 issues later, every criminal in New York is like, I'm scared. I'm so scared of Ant-Man. He's dismantled all the crime in New York. We've got some stereotypical gangsters, if you can imagine, like slicked back hair and plaid suits and just weird, ugly mugs. Dick Tracy leftovers.
Yeah, wide faces.
Exactly. So they're like, man, we keep getting beaten by this Ant-Man. We got no smarts. And they're like, well, maybe brute force isn't the answer. We're going to get a real smart guy. Therein lies the genius, because they bring in a genius.
Right.
Egghead.
Is his brain bigger than an average man's brain? Is that why?
All
or
right.
is he does he shaved his head and people just assume that
Okay, so I'll give you a breakdown of his powers.
I'm ready.
He's got a head shaped like an egg.
Gotcha.
And he comes up with plans. Are they good plans? They're not.
So he's a man.
He's just a man with a head shaped like an egg.
I've got friends like that.
Right, exactly, yeah. Basically, he's introduced in like some sort of, in Washington, D.C., he's in some sort of like interview with various government officials, and then they're like, you're doing some crime, we suspect you of selling secrets and doing crimes. And he's like, nah, I ain't doing any crimes. And they're like, well, we can't prove it, but we'll fire you. And then... like, just the gangsters approach him and they're like, you want to do some crimes? And he's like, yeah, I'll do crimes. And they're like, you want to kill Ant-Man? And he's like, yeah,
I'll do
kill
murder.
Ant-Man. Yeah, for sure, right?
Is he like a guy who will stab you? Will he fist fight? Will he set a trap?
No, well, he'll definitely set a trap.
Okay.
Yeah. What he does, it says, with cold scientific precision, the man called Egghead embarks upon his evil task. And he starts by watching a documentary about ants.
Well, that's your base level knowledge you need.
And then he reads a book called All About Ants.
Oh.
You can see it's there. It's a weighty tome. And he's like, and since Ant-Man works with ants, he must have some method of communicating with them. And he says, ants are unable to utter sounds and they don't use sign language. The only way they can
No.
communicate is by electronic signals to their antennae. First of all, absolutely not true. Ants communicate through sound. Ants communicate through touch. They communicate through body language,
Song.
pheromones,
Yeah.
all sorts. It's basic stuff. Egghead. I mean, it'd be like somebody about to embark on a crime spree, and they're like, "Well, it turns out that security cameras can't see yellow things, so I'm going to paint myself yellow." There's a flaw in that. Anybody could see that. Come on, mate.
I mean, this is knowledge from the scientific knowledge from the 60s as well.
I feel they still knew.
You think
This
they
is
still
comic
knew?
book writers' knowledge of the 60s.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, what he does is he builds a device, he builds a machine, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to communicate." And it's the same as Ant-Man's helmet. He's like, "Well, I'm going to build a bloody machine, and I'm going to command these ants. I'm going to convince them to work for me instead of Ant-Man." Right?
Great, good stuff.
And he finds a big anthill. He goes out to a field or a meadow of some sort. I'm not sure. Right?
But then you got to take the ants to where you want them to go. Is that what's happening here?
No. He's like, "Well, I'm going to communicate to these ants in this anthill. They're going to communicate to every other ant in New York, and all of a sudden they'll all be loyal to me."
Not a bad idea.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, it's a bad idea,
Not
but
so bad.
it's not the worst idea he's had
thus far.
thus far.
I mean, it's his best and worst at this point because it's his first appearance.
Sure.
And he got away with those secret sellings. Probably.
That's true. I just meant his idea in terms of how he thinks ants communicate.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's bad. Anyway, he's like, "Hello, I'm your friend. I've come to free you from the slavery of Ant-Man. Listen to my instructions. Tell the ant... Wait, listen to these instructions that he's giving to ants
Yep.
that are the size of ants that have brains smaller than an ant.
Sure.
Tell the Ant-Man that thieves are planning to steal the Wentworth necklace from the museum Thursday night."
Why?
That's a lot of information to convey to some of the dumbest creatures on the planet.
And even if they could convey that, don't you think Ant-Man would be like, where did this information come from?
The network of ants.
Yeah, but they can't perceive wealth or theft
Or the words
diamonds.
or the term
like the
Wentworth
concept.
necklace
Yeah. All of these things.
from the museum. What do
Yeah.
they know from museum?
They don't.
Right?
They don't have frames of reference for a museum.
Plan not complete.
Okay, sorry.
There will be lookouts posted to warn them of the police. Only the Ant-Man can get past the lookouts and capture the thieves red-handed.
Pretty good stuff.
When the Ant-Man falls for the bait, lead him to the museum. Have him enter through an open window where I shall be waiting for him. Waiting with flypaper.
Oh, very
Right,
good.
right.
Couldn't he just grow big and then be unstuck from the flypaper?
Not-
But then he's stuck in the museum.
Not if Egghead's plan is correct.
Okay.
It's not.
Oh.
It's a bad plan. He's a dumbass with an egg-shaped head. They say don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a man with an egg-shaped head and think he's a smart man. He's not. He's just a man with an egg for a head.
Not even an egg for a head.
No.
Just a regular man's head.
Anyway, he's like, "Remember, betray the Ant-Man and I will free you from his domination. Then you will be his masters and he will serve you the rest of his days. You shall give the orders."
Okay,
to
very
the
good.
Ant-Man. That's pretty good, right?
To this one guy.
Yeah, right?
Who cares? Why would they even want that?
I
He
don't know,
could
they
bring
say-
them fruit, I guess.
I guess, but they could probably get their own fruit.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, he's a man, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. Anyway, he goes back to Egghead goes back to the gangster and he's like, "Flypaper," and
Yep.
they're like, "You're a genius."
This guy. I'm glad we got him in.
And they're gonna get that's the thing, they're gonna get the diamonds, and they're gonna get Ant-Man, trap him in flypaper. Then Ant-Man he's received the information
Right.
from the ants about the Wentworth diamonds. They climb up the bloody side of the museum, right? He comes in the open window. And then Egghead hits him with a bellows. He hits him with a puff of air from the bellows.
Nice.
His one weakness, a puff of air.
Oh, man. I haven't heard the word bellows.
Right? Since 1962?
Correct.
Well, you're in luck. Then he gets flung into a box lined with flypaper.
Nice.
He's trapped, as you can see.
Yeah.
He's right. And he's like, "You've been betrayed, Ant-Man. Betrayed into my trap full of flypaper."
Yeah, that's good.
First of all, you are correct. He could just...
He'd tear that box.
They even
Asunder.
say it in this issue. Even when he's small, he has the strength of a normal man.
Oh, yeah.
And if you ever have flypaper stuck on your hands, you know what you do? You just take it off.
Yeah.
You just take it off and you rip it.
It might be like,
Throw it in the
ow,
bin.
for a second,
No, I
maybe.
think he even would.
Not even, yeah.
Yeah, right? But he's like, "Ha-ha."
It's not wax, is it?
No,
it's like
exactly.
masking tape.
Not even.
Not even.
That's right. But then Egghead's like, "Oh my god, you're not trapped on the flypaper. How did you do that?" And he's like, "I'll tell you later, you dumb prick. Here we go." And then he activates some springs in his boots. Spoing.
Does he need
Spoing.
springs in his boots though?
No, he
Can't
can just leap
jump
like a normal
great
man
heights?
because he's got the powers of a normal man as is established
Okay.
in the comic book itself.
But
once
now he's got
again.
the powers of a normal man and springs on his
and
feet.
springs in his boots. Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, right. Anyway, springs out of the box. They try to catch him. He ropes one of them up. He gives him the old flip him a do. He bloody
That's right. He had a lasso kind of thing at one point, didn't he?
yeah.
It was a weapon of
It's
his.
unbreakable nylon.
Oh.
The technology of the 1960s.
Very good.
Then they're like, we're going to bloody get this Ant-Man, but of course, the ants have brought in a giant man-sized sheet of flypaper, which they then fling over the villains.
Oh,
That's
very
right.
good. They should have bought in like a scrambler. They should have bought something relevant to him. You know what I mean?
right.
Put him in a big frying pan and cook him to death.
A flamethrower.
Something like that. You know what I mean?
A bomb.
A bomb's fine.
One of those tennis rackets that's electrified.
Sure.
You can slap
I
flies out
just
of the
meant
air with it.
something egg related.
Oh, right.
If he's
okay.
doing flypaper,
Oh, I see what you're going with there, yeah.
something egg related.
Well, that's how I cook my eggs on one of those tennis rackets
Oh, okay.
to electrify. Anyway, the rest of them go. The rest of the remaining gangsters attempt to escape the museum. They find their tires have been slashed.
Oh, no.
Then they can't escape. Then the cops arrive, and then Ant-Man's like, "Don't even worry about it, officers. I sorted this. It's no problem." And they're like, "How'd you do it, Ant-Man?"
I've got a lot of questions also.
Yep, ready. Go ahead.
So, okay, let me just kind of puzzle this out.
Yes.
He was probably told by the ants this full story. They went, yeah, a guy with an egg-shaped head came to our anthill and told us these really specific details about a heist, and then we just told you that.
Correct.
Okay, good.
See, what you need to know is the ants are like Ant-Man's wife.
Right,
Like, if
okay.
they're like
He
a
hits
married
them.
couple. Correct. They're like a married couple. If you're like, hey, I'm going to tell you the secret, don't tell your wife.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to tell your wife.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
come
don't
on.
you think he would have gone, where did you get this information from?
Yeah.
Even if they didn't tell him straight
Yeah,
up?
for sure, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, listen, here's the thing. Here's what Ant-Man knows that Egghead never knew.
Right.
He misunderstood the psychology of ants. He didn't know that the ants do not consider themselves slaves. They regard themselves as my friends and my partners in the war against crime.
You dummy egghead.
Yeah.
How could you not know that they were his partners in the war on
How could
crime?
you know that ants, despite being some of the tiniest, dumbest creatures in the world, are fully aware of the concept of crime and they are against crime? Egghead tried to appeal to their sense of greed, of vanity, but insects have no such emotions. Unfortunately, it's only we humans who possess such primitive traits. So they have no concept of greed or vanity, but
Right.
they do have a concept of justice.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Pretty good, right?
I think these books and documentary series that he watched were incorrect.
Yes.
It seems like they were way off.
Maybe the ants made them.
It's very
to allay
possible.
suspicion, right? Anyway, so he's told the entire plan. Before he gets there, he takes a little bath in an oily chemical, so he won't stick to the
Very
flypaper.
good.
Weirdly, though, he's not wearing his costume when he's doing that.
Wait,
he's just
how
a
does he
naked man in a bowl of oil. A tiny naked man in a bowl of oil.
But how did he know he was going to be flypapered? Because that part of the plan was never relayed. He must have had ants following Egghead.
It's a good question. Good point, actually. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Then he slashes the gangsters' tires.
Sure.
Then he steals the keys out of their ignition.
Good stuff. Why did they leave him
Then
in
all
there?
the ants sleep with their wives, I assume.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway.
I don't like that part of the story so much.
Yeah, well,
The rest of it, so great.
Yeah, I mean, they're smooth. They're smooth operators.
I guess
the
they
ants.
are.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the only thing that went wrong is Egghead escapes, of course. So he's a slippery character.
Bet he
He's
is.
got the cunning and instincts of an egg. So
You mean this man,
Yes.
with the strength of a man,
Strength of a man.
was able to get out of flypaper?
yes.
How?
I don't know. Eggs can't get out of flypaper. It's a
Is
flawless
there a
plan.
scene where there was a nude egghead slipping around in a bath full of oil?
Yeah, man-sized bath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that
probably
makes
on the
sense.
cutting room floor.
Maybe he's smarter than we give him credit for.
He's absolutely not. Anyway, the final 3 panels is just Egghead. He's disheveled and he's got some 5 o'clock shadow, as all defeated eggs do. And he's like, they are been defeated by ants. Those lousy ants. And a couple of other flophouse denizens are like, who's this idiot? Now, he's just talking about ants. And they're like, yeah, probably some bum without a brain in his head. Which is intended to be ironic because he's supposed to be a genius, but he really is a bum without a brain in his head. When you think about it.
He was before this comic,
Yep.
and he continued to be at the end.
Anyway, Egghead, is Ant-Man's most notorious recurring villain.
Is he?
Did you know about that?
Well, it says here
Yes.
that place of death was on Long Island. So he mustn't be at the moment. Like, currently, he must be a dead man.
No, he's been replaced by another egghead.
Oh, that's right. There's multiple
there's two
eggheads.
eggheads, yeah.
Okay, very good stuff.
But he had a good run, let me tell you.
Boy, did he. Well, look at this. Okay, I'm looking at his powers and abilities, right? On the
This is
Marvel
Egghead.
grid. This is Egghead.
Okay.
Okay, so all this stuff is pretty standard. Fighting skills 2, energy projection 1, which means he has some.
No, I think it's because he can go, if he's got a especially hot coffee or soup, he can go,
Or use his billows.
yeah, he can use his bellows, exactly,
Bellows, sorry,
yeah.
Durability 2. That's probably egg-like, isn't it? Speed 2.
We couldn't get us out of that. He got out of that fly trap, I
That's
guess.
true.
So that's 2.
Strength 2. Intelligence 5.
Out of 10?
I don't know. It looks like it could be 7 or 8. I can't
So
tell.
out of 7 or 8, the Marvel the Marvel scale.
Yeah.
You got to be different, don't you, Stan?
You gotta be.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, that's kind of delightful.
Isn't
It's
it
kind of a
though?
little bit of a bloody throwback. I didn't hate it. It's a bit of a fun, dumb time.
Let me tell you why I hated it.
I guess that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this much though, Mason. Every week we do a Caravan of Garbage. Sometimes it's a comic, sometimes it's a movie or a TV show, sometimes it's a video game. If you've got a suggestion, please leave it below.
Movie.
We also have a podcast called The Weekly Planet.
No, wait, a video game.
Where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. And there's videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Don't forget to tell all your friends how great this video was.
Or my friends?
Yes.
I don't really have that many friends.
You could tell me.
You're right here.
You could still tell me.
Are you saying you're unconvinced by the actual thing of the episode?
Let's just see how it turns out, all right?
All right.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
I'll grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.